Time for some more comments. Thank you very much for your reception to the first video of me reading comments. You guys have posted some very interesting questions, so we'll dive right into it. Today's theme is hype in video games. So we'll start with a really strong question from Dreadful Boredom. How lethal can hype be for one's experience when finally getting to play the game they garnered excitement for? Examples being Duke Nukem Forever, No Man's Sky, and Final Fantasy 15. I ask this because I'm interested in the mindset of hype culture and have seen this a lot with Death Stranding, where it's getting sayings from fans that it'll be great because of Kojima, even though all that's been seen about it was cinematic trailers. Alright, this is actually a very complex subject. I'll do my best to try to explain my views on it. You mentioned Duke Nukem Forever and No Man's Sky. Those are cases where hype has definitely harmed the games. I mean, Duke Nukem Forever is objectively bad, so I don't think hype did it a huge disservice, but No Man's Sky did for sure. I think No Man's Sky is a very niche game that got mainstream hype. That game actually has its qualities, but it's not for, the mainstream audience. It wasn't a game for everyone, so it ended up being bashed more than it deserved because of the hype it got. And then you have Final Fantasy 15, a game that generated a lot of hype over 10 years, but it actually delivered on a lot of stuff. So hype worked in favor of that game. In terms of the user experience, I think hype in general just works in favor of every game. If you're not hyped for a game, you're not even gonna hear about it, no one's gonna talk about it, so no one's gonna be disappointed when the game comes out and turns out it's bad. Bad games come out on Steam every single day, and no one bats an eye. It's only when there's a lot of people excited about a game and it comes out and it's disappointing that it detracts from the user's experience. But back to your question, how lethal can hype be to your personal experience? I don't think the impact is that great, actually. I think if people weren't hyped for No Man's Sky, they wouldn't enjoy it more. The same people that didn't like the game wouldn't like it no matter what. Now, there's something to be said about setting your expectations way too high and being disappointed with the final product, but I wouldn't call that lethal necessarily. It's just I enjoyed it less than I would if I wasn't this hyped or had my expectations set that high. That said, I think the other way around actually is a lot stronger. When you have low expectations for a game but it surprises you, you end up getting an amazing experience because of it. And since you touch on Death Stranding as well, I mean, Kojima has a legacy of really good games, so it's natural that everyone's excited about his next project. I am personally excited to see what his next project is. I'm not necessarily hyped about Death Stranding the game, not yet, because, there's no gameplay. I haven't seen anything. No one has. But I want to know what Kojima is making next. He's a creator that I admire, and I want to see what he does outside the realm of Metal Gear Solid. And I think hype on that level is actually pretty okay. You want to see what this creator that you admire is working on next, and maybe it's not for you, but that's okay. The bad news start when the game starts getting some bad press because everyone's disappointed by it, then sales tank, but I think overall hype does more good things than bad for the games. Because if it wasn't for the hype, there would be no sales, no pre-orders, no anything. Now, what pisses me off about hype is how people get invested in a game before it comes out and they can't imagine a scenario where the game isn't gonna be good. And that affects me more personally because I have a YouTube channel. Recently, I think the last video we launched was a video about the things I didn't like about the Darksiders 3 gameplay. Here are some examples of comments that I absolutely dread. Gaming Ninja, it's too early to start complaining. Sultan Arshad, you're wasting our time, bro. It was just a demo. They are talking about more to add in that game. No one cares what you think. It's too early to start complaining. So basically, I complained about the gameplay that they were showing. And I know it's not the final product, and that was very clear in the video. But because people are hyped, they can't hear bad things about their game. Otherwise, their feelings get hurt. They can't imagine this game being bad because they want it so much to be good. It's like the gaming community hasn't learned yet. I think we will get there at some point. You'd think Duke Nukem Forever, No Man's Sky, and those kinds of games would be enough. Mass Effect Andromeda is a great example as well. You'd think those games would be enough for people to learn to measure their expectations and always be on the lookout for, the less positive things in games. But we'll get there someday. With enough disappointments, people will learn. And the biggest excuse I see in that video is it's still in development, it's still pre-alpha. Just because a game is in development doesn't mean you can't criticize it. In fact, that's the best time to criticize it because that's when you can provide some feedback to the developers that are still working on the project and that's the time to voice your concerns so they can fix it before they launch the game. The little thing that says pre-alpha in the top right corner is not an excuse to waiver every negative criticism. Because if you justify every negative criticism with, well, it's still in development, of course they're gonna add more stuff, of course they're gonna fix those problems that you're complaining about, then you can't say anything good either. Because it's still in development and they could take away the stuff that you like about the gameplay. It goes both ways, but it doesn't work like that with the community. And that's one of the reasons why I'm recording this video today, is because next week I'm gonna launch a positive video on Darksiders 3, things that I already like about the gameplay, and I can guarantee you they are more than 5 things. And I can also guarantee you that I'm not gonna get any of these comments on that video. I might get a few comments that say, well, you were just hating on Darksiders last week, how can you love it now? Because people don't fucking understand that not everything is black and white, but I'm not gonna get anyone bashing me for criticizing a game that's still under development. I try to be fair, I try to show the pros and the cons, the stuff that I like and that I don't like, and I know it's a gameplay demo, I know it's not the final product, I'm just providing feedback. And I think we were a bit too positive on the last comments video that I made, so just to prove that I also read the bad comments, here's one spewing hate by Shadewalk. So basically you're spewing hate and criticism to a revitalized game franchise after watching some footage which clearly shows a game still in development. There's that excuse again. Regardless of your baseless conspiracy theories about the pre-alpha footage, notice. Okay, so over time, pre-alpha, betas, alphas, they have meant less and less. More and more is just a way for PR to say that their game is under development and it's gonna go through some changes. If you think about pre-alpha in traditional development terms, it's a skeleton of a game. It doesn't even have textures, you're basically playing with stick figures. This footage has textures, animation, it has finalized textures, I would say, some of them. This is not what a pre-alpha game typically looks like, this is what the PR are calling a pre-alpha. And I've seen some comments like Jacques Imra saying that in general, pre-alpha is in a state of development where the designer and devs haven't tested out the product yet. And yeah, maybe the game hasn't gone through QA yet, and that's why they're showing the gameplay with a pre-alpha thing. But this is a very controlled demo, it's a vertical slice, and it's not going to show any of the bugs that usually get taken out in QA. Obviously, QA is also for feedback, so if there are some mechanics like the ones I didn't like, they might get removed. But usually these types of people, they see pre-alpha and they think, this game is still in pre-alpha, it's gonna get so much better by the end. And that's just not gonna be the case. This is pretty close to final. Or at least the level they showed is pretty close to final. I would call that a beta, but that's just me. Continuing the Shadewall comment, and rather than make an informed and balanced opinion on it, you rather spew negativity for no reason other than because it doesn't look like something you would like? If you thought that maybe the gameplay was actually interesting to some and showed an evolution of the gameplay since the last 2 games, alright, first of all, it didn't show an evolution of the gameplay over the last 2 games. It's pretty much what you would expect. Not yet, anyway. I'm sure they'll have some new stuff, but for now, you have one combo and you're dodging all over the place and you have some platforming things. I mean, I wouldn't call that an evolution. And did I think that the gameplay looked interesting to some? I don't care. You make a YouTube channel and tell me how interesting it is. I'm just telling you my opinions. And my opinions are the word of God, as it is obviously widely known. They are equal to facts, and you should accept that. You fucking idiot. Your comments don't add to the discussion, they just taint it and sound like the ramblings of a spoiled child. You just lost a subscriber. There was so much wrong with this comment that I just replied with, bye. As if it wasn't enough in that video that I'm talking about my opinion and I'm trying to provide feedback to a game under development so the developers can look at it and say, oh yeah, maybe the whip sound isn't great, that it's always the same, right? No, my criticisms were so unreasonable that they taint the game and the conversation. People really think they can get to me by saying you just lost a subscriber. First of all, I've never seen this guy in any of the other videos, so probably wasn't a subscriber. Second of all, I don't need intolerant pricks like you who can't take a fucking opinion and are blinded by hype. For a game that has shown one gameplay demo. I was excited when I heard the words Darksiders 3, and now I'm still excited about Darksiders 3. I just have some concerns. So yeah, you can fuck off. Bye. And I guess that's enough about hype. I've got a couple of questions regarding TGN. I'm gonna take this one from Trillsbits. I'd like to know what you think about TGN's YouTube channel change. Personally, I don't like it. I prefer watching the Magical Noob any day. Keep up the good work. Why would you prefer the Magical Noob? I'm just a hate-spewing prick. Nah, thanks, man. Yeah, the TGN is a complex situation. So for those who don't know, I work for TGN. That's my main job. That's what pays the bills. It's not this 10,000 subscriber channel, definitely not. And TGN has changed recently. It went from general gaming content covering upcoming games and gamer culture to just talking about Overwatch. Now, this was a change that I fought against. I said it wasn't a good idea, and it pissed off a lot of the people in the community. But when they changed to Overwatch and I started seeing the numbers, the results, the number of views we were getting per video, I had to admit that I was wrong. Yeah, that was the right move. We were getting around 10,000 views on average per video, and now 20,000 is like the bare minimum. So overnight the TGN channel just blew up. So it was a decision made by smarter people than me. People who saw the trend, who saw there was a space for a new Overwatch channel and said, let's go with that. And they killed it. Now that pissed off a lot of people, obviously, because not everyone who was watching TGN was an Overwatch fan. But you gotta understand that this is a business, and if we don't get the views, then it's not worth it. Now, some people also believe that this might have been the right move for now, but it's gonna hurt them in the long term. And I'm gonna say that don't worry about it too much, because it might be an Overwatch channel now, but if that starts not performing well, they'll adapt, they'll change. I thought the Overwatch change would kill the channel, absolutely, but it did nothing but good things. So they'll find something else, they'll move on to it. And I'm saying they right now because I'm actually removed from the team now. When they made the change to Overwatch, we didn't want to lose the gaming culture side of things, so I stayed there and kept making gamer culture videos. Those got less and less views, so at some point it became Overwatch only, and I'm not a big Overwatch guy, so they thought I could be better used somewhere else. So they have me launching a new TGN channel, which is TGN Anime, on one of the old TGN channels, which is youtube.com/TGN Let's Play. And I'm just trying to launch an anime channel now. So yeah, that's what my work with TGN is right now, is like launching a new channel, and they're doing their Overwatch stuff separately. Obviously, if they ever decide to change directions, they know they can count on me. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on it. Overwatch is also something that I'm not hugely interested in. Even watching videos about Overwatch, making videos about Overwatch, I'm definitely not interested in that. But I can't criticize their way of thinking or the fact that they changed to Overwatch content, because it was a smart move. Just look at the numbers. That's what I think. And that's gonna be enough for today's kind of a heavy episode. I think I'm gonna go back to focusing on positive comments. But I loved your questions for this video. Seriously, thank you so much. If you think you got some more questions that are worthy of, you know, this back and forth talk and not just me typing in the comments because it's a yes or no question, then yeah, feel free to leave them below, and maybe we'll make another one. We'll see. I don't know. I've been Globku. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.